So, as you mentioned, you spent the last couple of years with AEW, and typically how people come in on Dark, they're losing a bunch of matches, and that's just the way that it is. When they
Yeah.
come to you and they say, "Hey, you're going to win tonight. You're going to win over not only that, a woman who had been on TNA wrestling in the past, globally exposed, like we knew who Lady Tapa was." How did that feel for you?
Yeah.
That had to feel like pretty good, like they had an incredible amount of confidence in you.
Yeah, I'm still to this day not sure how that came about, like who made those decisions and stuff like that. But I know that there was a lot of people, like when I was there and still wherever I go, I always pride myself. Like I don't like to put myself over that much because, it's just a matter of grinding and doing the work. But when I was there, especially like I was a workhorse. Like I was always backstage by the board waiting, like, hey, what can I do? You have another thing for me? All right, cool. Like I wanted to work, I wanted to learn. I wanted to make money, you know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
was there like to just, it was business. I was there to work. Um, and I just, so it was one of those things where I just put my head down and I was doing everything that I had to do to get better and to get more eyes on me. And I think it was Dustin who came up to me because I just had my match with Britt Baker on Dynamite, and it was really I was like still on the high from that. I was like, I got to be on Dynamite against Britt. They were building her up. It was a really cool moment. Um, and then he came up to me. He's like, "Yeah, we got a match for you tonight. You're gonna go against Lady Tapa." And immediately my brain's thinking like, okay, they want to see Lady Tapa and all that stuff. And then when he was like, "Yeah, and we're gonna put you over," I was like, "What?" So, and it was really really cool. And then I didn't expect it to keep happening, but it did. And
A
then I got to
lot.
be,
It happened a lot.
yeah. And it was, and it was one of those things where it was one. I really took it as an honor
Hmm.
because they put enhancement talent over before, but not to that extent.
Yeah.
And not only did they start giving me that, but they started involving me with Swole and Velvet, two people that I have a lot of admiration and love for, and that I knew before AEW. So that was really really cool. And then that led to me representing them at Empower for NWA, and also being on All Out, in the women's battle royale. So it was just like there was a lot of things that they allowed me to be a part of. That as an unsigned talent, I was just like, that's incredible. I'm doing something correct because they have a lot of trust in me. So unfortunately, my journey with them hasn't really been going anywhere lately, which is totally fine because if
Hmm.
you know anything about wrestling, it's a matter of time and place and being the thing that they need at the moment. So I'm just incredibly happy that I got to be there and I got to have those experiences because I don't think I would be the wrestler I am right now or even the performer I am right now if I hadn't been there on that journey, learning with them and having those moments and opportunities.
And you mentioned that that's doesn't seem to be going anywhere right now, but I mean that has been a pretty noticeable omission, especially from somebody I watch Dark and Elevation every single week, and you were not only a regular, like we said, you won like 15 matches. There are people there that haven't
Was it that
been,
many?
yeah, it was like 15 matches. There are people that have been there for 3.5 or 3 years since the beginning that don't have that many wins on TV. Like, was there a definitive point where they said, "Oh, we're going a different direction," or you did? Like, how did that work? Because I did notice, like, around the new year, it was a little less.
I mean, as far as I know, me and AEW are good. It
Okay,
just
good.
got to a point, yeah, it just got to a point where no contract had been offered. There had been no talks about it. So I was, and I was starting to get, emails from NWA and stuff like that. And there was a lot of companies on the independents who really wanted to put their titles on me and have me be very regular there, and work storylines. And that was the point that I wanted to switch into. Like I didn't want to just have matches anymore. I wanted to have storylines. I wanted to have feuds. I wanted to start leaving little marks in my wrestling career
Yeah.
where 10 20 years from now people can go back and be like, oh, that feud was so great. They hated each other and they made me believe that. And so that's the point in my career that I'm at right now. I just having a match to have a match was not something I wanted. So like I've had many conversations with Billy Gunn, a couple of the people who recruit for Dark. I was like, hey, like I love you guys, but I got to go off and do my own thing for now.
Hmm.
So the door is still open. Like I said, I've talked to Billy Gunn. He's like, that door's open. I'll always make sure it's open. But right now, I think I'm just on a journey trying to create my own stardom because, like I started with AEW when nobody really knew who I was. I was only about 2-3 years in, like actually debuting on the independents. So while, I was getting a lot of recognition while I was at AEW, I really still was nobody. And so right now it's the point in my career where I've got to make people understand, like, okay, yeah, I was a nobody, but I'm going to become somebody, and then we'll just see where I end up. You know what I mean? So,
and it doesn't seem like they hold that against anybody when they're like, oh,
no.
I want to go on this different path. I've heard tons of wrestlers tell me that, where they're like, I'm very fortunate that I got to appear on Dark or this or that, but they understand that that's not everybody's path, and that doesn't necessarily work for everybody.
Yeah, because everybody's on their own journey. Everybody has different desires and expectations for what they want to see in their career and what they want to become as a performer and as a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to a company and that spot isn't isn't there for you at that current time, there's no shame in saying, hey, I need to go somewhere else where I can become that kind of how do I phrase myself? To get yourself to that level, sometimes you got to go somewhere else to build yourself up to that level. That way, if your journey comes full circle and you go back to that company, they're like, all right, now you're ready for this spot. Because sometimes, they have different visions than you have. And there's nothing wrong with that, because wrestling is very subjective. Everybody has a different idea of where things need to go. So, and I think that was part of mine too. It's just like, I felt like I was ready to go to the next level and have storylines, but I was still, nobody. So I had to go out and start showing people, like, hey, if nobody's going to put camera in front of me, I'm going to put the camera in front of myself, and I'm going to show people that I'm not just a good wrestler, I'm a storyteller too. So that's where I'm at, and I think that's where a lot of people are at too, because sometimes, if the camera doesn't get put on in front of them and they have all these ideas going on in their head, they got to go somewhere and they got to do it.